Okay. Finally at Air Force Week. It was good to have an off week last week to introduce, schematically what we're going to try to do against Air Force, which is, Coach Calhoun, another great job that he's doing with his football team. Knew this team had a chance to be good when the season started. He had so many returning players from last year's team, that didn't reach probably their expectations that they had for the year, but we played them in the last game of the year. You could tell that they were going to be good going into this year. They've got, they do what they do on offense. I think they're probably the most physical that I've seen them up front since I've been coaching here at Colorado State. I think they, obviously they run the option, but they run some zone schemes. They're physical, they're nasty, they get after you, and it's relentless, play after play. Obviously played several quarterbacks. I think all have, functioned well. Number 5 is probably their main guy who's operated it obviously for second, third year going now. Defensively, I think they're playing, extremely well defensively. Probably not playing as much zero coverage as they played in the past, but they still will put pressure on you from strong and weak and up the middle. So a lot of things that you got to prepare for as an offensive, as a coaching staff. Obviously they don't do it all in every game, but what are they going to do against you? They do their assignments well, they execute, and they play, extremely hard. I'm excited to have them here playing in Fort Collins on Saturday, ESPN2. Hope we have a great crowd. It's going to be one of those games that's, is going to be a fourth quarter game that is going to have to take discipline and patience by our guys to have a chance to pull this game off against a talented team that I believe is 7-2 now, with losses to just Navy and Boise State, and have physically whipped a lot of their opponents. So it's going to be a challenge for our guys, and that's what we want, a challenge.
Mike, following that game last year, you were obviously a little frustrated. You talked about your team needing to get stronger, faster, tougher. Have you done those things?
Well, I mean, we'll find out. This is, I believe that we played, more physical this year. I played with a better passion about ourselves and how we play. I think we've been stronger, and we're working on that, but I think we've been physically tougher and mentally tougher this year. But a lot of what we did this offseason is, for games like this. I said it after this game last year. They physically whipped us. Yeah, we had our chances and had a couple turnovers and lost Colin with a concussion. But at the end of the day, didn't think we were physically ready enough mentally or physically to handle what they did to us that day. And hats off to them. So we'll see this Saturday.
We talked a lot about what their run game is like, but their run defense has been really stout this year. What do you have to do to kind of get your run game going against that?
Well, they do a lot of things on defense. One, they put a lot of pressure on you with the pressures that they bring, with their field pressures, with their boundary pressures, with their middle pressures. I think they do a great job of getting off blocks. Number 40, linebacker, I think is a very good player. Number 2, the safety, is an extremely athletic, good football player for them. 94 is, he looks the part, and he's playing a lot better than he did last year, playing more physical. The nose. Their nose guard, big, stout, shows quickness. So they got players. Coach Calhoun will get on there and talk about what they don't have, facility-wise and player-wise and all this stuff. But they sign like 800 kids a year, and the guys that make it through and play on their team they're physically and mentally tough. I guess that's what you want now that we're on Veterans Day, to have guys like that fighting for your country. Tough kids, and I'm always impressed when I watch them play, how they play the game. Not that I look at them like, oh, it's just Air Force, they don't have to play. They got good players that know how to win, and that's why you play the game.
What do you look for in your running game to kind of get more consistent? You've been up and down.
I mean, it's just, we gotta get a hat on the hat. We gotta get, we gotta identify what they're doing, and we gotta get a hat on the hat, and, we've gotta we gotta break some one-on-one tackles, And we get into some of our heavy looks, we're gonna have guys at the line of scrimmage, and, last week, Marcus made a safety miss on the first touchdown, and then, Jalen, made a corner miss. You gotta make those guys miss in open space and, get positive yards. You're not gonna block everybody, especially you're not gonna block everybody against Air Force, because they're going to have an extra hat down there. And those safeties trigger, and that's where you got to win. You got to earn your scholarship at running back. And then they do a great job keeping the ball offensively. That sometimes it makes you feel as an offensive play caller that I can't run the ball here. I gotta score. I gotta get an explosive play. I gotta hurry up and make something happen. And I think that's where they get you to make a mistake. Kind of get you out of your game plan, because the clock's ticked away, and now I've only got my third possession, and the first half's almost over, So there's a patience that you have to learn as a play caller to continue to run the ball, and we got to get first downs if we're going to run the ball. We can't go 3 and out and give it back to them. If we run the ball, we got to get first downs and keep drives alive.
Talk about specifically how the bye week could benefit your defense and just getting a head start. Do you like what you saw out of the defense?
I do like what I saw. We went full pads every day last week, to work on, the schemes and try to simulate what Air Force is going to do offensively, which you can't you can't simulate it. That's something they do year round, and we're trying to do it in a week. But it's good that we have a little bit more than a week. We're going to go full pads every day this week. I told them we might go full pads and no sweat Thursday, our walkthrough. So today, we're full pads, which we normally aren't on Monday. The key to us having a good practice to me is our scout team. And, we moved some guys around to try to get some more athletic bodies up front on the offensive line. Aiden Cullen played some tackle for us. We're going to put Cal Helbig down there, guys that can run a little bit. And try to put pressure on our D-line and linebackers. Yeah, so the scout team's the key. I do think, we're going to be able to recognize some things, but the speed of play, that how fast that fullback hits it, how quick that slot back gets on you, how quick that guard is getting to the second level, how they're coming off on the zone play. Those are hard to simulate. So, mainly this week's, it's about an attitude. It's an attitude to get ready to play this, and things aren't going to go our way all the time. It's sometimes you feel like when you play a team that controls the game on the ground, it's almost deflating. We can't let that get into our mindset. We got to line up, play every down, and be good in situational defense, which is if we get them into some third downs and in the red zone, we got to hold them.
In your mind, what's been the biggest change over the last month that sort of has resulted in better play and wins?
Yeah, I think the consistency of continuing to do what we set out to do, and never wasting a day, and having good practices every single day and trying to get better, not getting caught up in outside noise, and controlling what we can control, and good things will happen. And that's easier to say than to do, but I have to give our credit to our leaders and our football team who can continue to do that and continue to get better. And we had some small victories in some games that resulted in a win, and I think that gave us confidence moving forward. But we got a tough opponent this week, which that's what you want.
Mike, do you like the way the schedule shapes up, that you've got maybe your 3 biggest games at the end of the year?
I don't know. You can ask me after the season. I'll see how I like the schedule. No, I think you got to play them at some point. I do like we got 2 out of 3 at home with Air Force and Boise. Wyoming at night. On a Friday night it's going to be a great environment. We'll get to that one next week when we get there. But you got to play them at some point. I feel like we're playing better now than we did at the beginning of the year. So right now I'd say yes.
Who's been your scout team quarterback? And I know they can't run Air Force's offense, but how have they done?
Grassi has been our scout team quarterback, and he has done a good job. He ran something similar to this in high school and did a really good job the first 3 days. We're going to ramp up things today. The first 3 was more alignment and teaching, and we got some live reps, but it's going to be fast-paced today, and, those guys are going to be humming and trying to, get our guys' legs and cut them and scramble, be annoying that defense, and Grassi is going to be the guy running it. We talked about moving some other guys to that position, but I thought he did a great job the 3 days last week of, running the show.
How important really is that to just give your defense a simulation of the looks?
Oh, it's huge. It's huge. The simulation of trying to, emulate what they do is huge. Yeah, the speed of it's tough. And we've got some injuries, across our team that's kind of hurt us in some positions that, might be some scout team players that could help us. But, it is what it is. We try to simulate as best we can. But we're still, it's like Coach James had told the defense, we're not going to be able to simulate the speed at what they're going to do it. So our focus has to be second to none. Our discipline has to be second to none of how we play this week.
Well, which to you is more important in stopping the Air Force offense, the simulation or mentally understanding the scheme, or just effort and will to beat your guy?
I think it's a little bit of both. I don't think one's more important than the other. You got to understand your responsibilities, depending on what front and what you're playing and who's got the dive, who's got the quarterback, who's got the pitch. You've got to always handle that first, but a lot of these things they're running is not, true option. It's zone. That's credit to them on what they're doing, but it doesn't matter whether you're playing a 4 down, a 3 down, an 8-man front. You got to know who's got what responsibility. And then you got to get your butt off the ground. You got to run to the football. If you get cut, you get up. You play your proper angles. If you're a safety, understand crack and replace. Your eyes in the right spot. For the backside wing. If this pass, all these things that you got to, eye discipline more than anything, and then play your ass off. Play your ass off. Match their intensity, because that's something they do. They play their tails off every week.
Obviously, getting some rest over the bye week before this big 3-game stretch was big. Do you feel like the team's a little bit healthier than it was before?
Yeah, we had a staff meeting today and had an injury report and got a couple guys back. Nuri practiced just a little bit last week, and I think he's going to, be able to go this week at guard or get in there and get some reps. It's good that, we were able to make it the last 2 games without him playing. We built more depth. Keith Williams, I think that was really good for him to get out there and play some and play good at some spots. Hopefully we get Rashard Ajay back. Manny got healthier. I think the guys are getting healthier. I mean, I think, to play, Air Force at a time, I think it's good that we had a bye week. If I could draw up the schedule every year, you'd have a bye week before Air Force, or you'd hope to have them first, play them first, where you could really spend some time and work on this. Yeah, we work on it in spring, we work on it in fall camp, but, your total focus on that game, I think, is huge, and that's what we've been, working on. Defense just primarily worked Air Force all last week. Offense did a little bit more fundamentals and technique of just playing your position, not necessarily schematically. We did a little bit on Thursday, but for our defense, it's been all, game planning for Air Force and what we need to do.
Mike, from an offensive game plan standpoint, how different is it when you're playing a team like Air Force where you probably only need to get 2/3 to 3/4 of your normal possession?
Yeah, I went through the last 4 games of, how many snaps we averaged, how many third downs, how many, it's just, it's a little bit less than, your normal situations, and it's, it's like 8.5 possessions in 10, so that's 8.5 series a game, which is about 3.5 down to 4 down of what you normally get. And I say it every year when I play, been doing it a long time, playing Georgia Tech and calling plays, and now play Air Force that, you got to cut your game plan in, 2/3 of what it is. We're still game planning and writing ideas up there. There's a lot of great ideas, and I'm kind of saying yes to all of them right now, but I got to go back through and I got to cut it. Doesn't matter how good it is if, we're not going to have a chance to run it in the game. I got to figure out what we like the best and make sure that gets called, because sometimes you're holding something and, next thing you know, you're in a 1-minute situation in the first half and it's only the 3rd series. You're like, well, crap, I've only run, 12 plays, so it's difficult. It's difficult, and that's, it's just keep patience and keep your side of the ball up over there, knowing that, hey, this drive might last a while. We're into it. Doesn't matter. We got to go out and we got to perform. And the big thing is you got to take advantage of the opportunities when you play a team like this. You get a stop, you get a turnover. Offensively, you need to take advantage and get points on the board. You get in the red zone, you gotta try to get touchdowns over field goals, and then when they get in the red zone, we gotta try to hold them. But they're high powered this year. They're scoring a lot of points. They're hard to stop. Offensively, he's got to do their part and match them and their intensity and execution, and then hopefully we can be a difference in special teams in this game, which we weren't last year. Despite the turnovers, we missed 2 extra points. You can't do that. I mean, we're right there, with the lead. We don't miss 2 extra points, but they go down and score and make it an 8-point game, and then we throw the pick. Turnovers are huge. We got to protect the ball offensively. Stat number 1 that I talked to our team about last week was the turnover ratio in every game since I've been here and the result in the game. It's going to be huge. All right. Thanks, guys.